So here's the aim. I want to make the TLR faster, more power, and I'm focusing on the exhaust system because the standard system is really small in diameter in the pipes, especially around here on the left hand side, and these M4, which is probably not the best thing you can get, a titanium Yoshimura would be the ultimate, but this will have to do. And the diameters of the pipe are substantially bigger, but it's in pretty poor condition and it needs refurbishing. And that's the problem. Now the challenge is not to use the Harpic. And this is the acid version. There is an alkaline version, by the way. I've been doing my research, but this is the hydrochloric problem where it depletes the chromium out of stainless steel. Because as soon as you read or watch a video about doing up your exhaust pipes and someone says, oh, this is the miracle stuff, you'll see a whole bunch of technical stuff written in the comments about how it's bad for stainless steel. And then you go do your searches and, okay, let's do something different. And also, we all know that the Autosol metal polish is good for finishing the job. But when you've got a pipe this bad, that's kind of like the last step in the process. We needed to find something before that. You know, step 1, 2, 3. This could be step 3. Okay, so we'll just put the Harpic away, and we went on a merry drive through the shops trying to find something that is equally as good or if not better because of the different acids available. Had to do some research. So before I get into what I actually found worked, I've got to understand, or I want to show you the differences in the pipes of the stainless steel. Now the M4 system, now this is what I mean, the M4 system here, brand spanking new, is raw, straight off the production line without any dressing of the tube. It hasn't been linished and it hasn't been polished. It is straight off the factory, or actually the manufacturer's mill. You can see also the tooling marks for the tube bending, and on the other pipe here, which is very noticeable, it has the manufactured seam on the tube when it was actually made in the mill. So these are totally raw, just swaged, tube bent and TIG welded up. TIG welding's nice, it's good. I was a TIG welder back at Qantas days, so I know my welding. They're nice, but they're unfinished. And honestly, straight up, what I'll do with these is get them ceramic coated in black, and then you wouldn't have all this drama of you buy a brand new bike and it just goes brown like the ZX6R there, or a full Yoshi system that is super polished to mirror finish, and then a few years down the track it's black and I had to take the system off, rebuff it right up again, the whole job 5 years ago, and the bike is now the way it is, and you have to use cotton mops, the different soaps that they call them, polishing soaps, different grades to use on the mops, and you can bring up the system back to brand new. But the problem is, a year later they're back to the way they looked before, all scungy. And then you get this third type, and they are linished from the factory after manufacture. The job is done, and then they put a handheld linishing belt, a tool attachment. It's like a 3 pivot point, and they linish the pipes. So that's where you get the grain running around that way. Now the tube does have a natural grain, but they're also polishing it with a lineature in that direction as well. So that's what you get with this one here. So we've got three types, you know, raw, lineaged, and then polished to an inch of its life. So if you got this far, give this video a like. If you find this of help, interest, it really helps for the videos to live a little bit longer than 24 hours, because when you're only a small YouTuber, your videos, you know, you take a week to make a video, like I did 400 kilometres on the TLR and then 200 kilometres on the ZX6R last week, and made a video, and it's dead within a day. And you get 80, you don't even make the threshold for YouTube to pay you. It only made 88 cents. Crazy, isn't it? Why do it? That's another story. A friend of mine, Dave, we talk about this sort of stuff. Anyway. Now in Australia we don't necessarily get all the products that I see overseas in the USA or England, wherever. So this is more for Australia, I'm sorry, but when we look at videos where they're saying, you know, go to Harbour Freight or Suzuki Foundry or all this type of things, you know, I wouldn't know what they're talking about. And if you say Amazon, or I can be looking at 5 days or 14 days. This is all Australian stuff that I go to a place called, say, Bunnings, and the automotive places like Repco. So if you're an Australian watching, I'm talking basically to you. So I tried looking for a chemical treatment. So calcium, scale, rust, for stainless steel, so products off the shelf in hardware stores for stainless steel. So this was one, this Glitz. It's cheap, but the problem was it is just a liquid and it just runs off the tube. It doesn't stay on, it just runs off. So you can't soak the product unless you start dipping it in it. So this one was a waste. This one was a lot better. This is a similar type of product. It's made for descaling. It's from Bunnings again. It's cheap. So what you do, it's a liquid, but when you apply it with say a 1-inch paintbrush and just put it onto the tube, it doesn't run off. It stays up onto the tube. So this was good and it worked well. But it gets only to a point. We see what happens on the pipe. The pipe is so badly tarnished, it's actually black. And if I didn't scour it with a pad, I'd just use the acid and the paintbrush, it would get to a certain level, but then you couldn't clean it anymore. From that is the Scotch Brite pad. Now this one it's actually from Bunnings as well. And it was hard to find actually. It was tucked away, and its grade is actually very fine, which is a little bit confusing because I always thought it was the coarsest. But this maroon red one does work the best out of the other ones. The green one, that wasn't much good, and then you have the light coloured grey one, which is good, and then they can be white as well, light grey and white, the non-scratch type ones, but definitely go for the maroon. What it's called is One Shot Thick Concentrated Acidic Cleaner. It's a toilet cleaner, but it's designed for stainless steels, or to be used on stainless steels as well as the porcelains and those type of things. Autosol Metal Lifesaver, that's the stuff there. So you use this before you go and use that, because this is just your finishing polish. But this really worked a treat. There's another product there, they're called Blue Remover. If you look up Autosol's range, there's when you weld, you get that bluing colour on the heat affected zone of the weld. But anyway, they have one product to remove the bluing, and this one is similar. So this one was available at the shops. Now you could also, I looked into pickling paste, the welder's pickling paste, and that's like a 2-acid compound type of stuff. It can be highly dangerous, and it's expensive. It's really expensive stuff. You're looking at the $100 mark, whereas these are, you know, quite cheap. And, you know, but nothing like $45 for some of these other type of products that you see as well. So this works. I'll show you in a minute. And also out of the heavily, if you want to, if it's tarnished fairly heavily, you can use this product here from the Bunnings as well, and it's the pink stuff. And this product is an abrasive paste. So with the Scotch Brite and the paste, you get it. You can really knock down the tarnishing. You really make headway into it. The other one, which is you get everywhere, is the Gumption. It's the same type of thing. It's an abrasive paste for stainless steel sinks and stuff. They're both for the same type of work, but I found that the pink stuff was a little bit more effective. So, and then another one which I tried, the Barkeeper's Friend, and that's useless. I've had no luck with that at all. But it just breaks down and it goes flat, and it doesn't perform as good as the Scotch Brite. The Scotch Brite will wear down, but it doesn't degrade like that does. So this is easier to live with. It doesn't going to impregnate your steel or aluminium. Never use steel wool on aluminium. You'll get the material stuck into your aluminium or your finger like I did. So this is much better. And then also I had to use on that exhaust the rotary mops. Now this is a Scotch Brite mop. This is a Scotch Brite mop, and that's really neat as well when it's really heavy duty stuff. And then finally another one is the cleaning mops, detailing mops, and this green one was the one to go for. The others were too abrasive. Now what I'm going to do, this bloody end pipe, or end cap I should say, it's got the tarnish and it's uneven as well. It's sort of like a sort of a patch through there, and then the normal light tan colour tarnish, but it's got this sort of contaminated area through there. So I'm going to use this metal lifesaver, and I just got to cut up a microfiber cloth, and I'm just going to put some of this on here and see if we can get something to get rid of that uneven tarnish. Could make a liar out of me, or it could be brilliant. And that's the thing too. You find some of the stuff, it just doesn't work. You can, the first 2 minutes you go, this isn't doing anything. And then the next product you pick up, you go, wow. And I think this is a wow. Look at that. I got rid of that tarnish and that sort of that zone where it was uneven. So this one, now just a microfiber cloth is safe, because you've got to remember too, stainless steel can be soft. It is designed not to corrode. That's its purpose. Anti-corrosion. As a metallurgist once said to me, what do you want to use stainless steel for if it's not to battle corrosion? So, good point. So, it's not the hardest. And also stainless steels can be in different grades. You got 321, 347, and then they came in quarter hard, half hard, and full hard. So there is, how they've been heat treated makes a lot of difference. And there's others, marine grades, the 316 stainless steel. So there's certainly austenitic, martensitic, different, all those things I forget. So just be safe and don't go crazy with something too abrasive to start with. And look at that. Brought it up like brand new. Got rid of the brown tarnish and the tarnish sort of blemish in the section of the tube. This is titanium here, so I'd leave that alone. I wouldn't do anything with that, just wash it. Because I like titanium is one step up again from the stainless steel for the exhaust as far as I'm concerned. I wouldn't even buy carbon fibre. It breaks down a little bit. I find the titanium the most durable of the lot. But there you go. Then that's that one there, and it's brilliant. Now I'll just quickly show you this one. So this is a problem with this system. It's really tarnished in black in sections, and then the more normal tan type of tarnish. And if I really had my time again with this system, I'd get it vapor blasted. This is really labour intensive. You know, you can do it yourself. Like I said, with the mops and the polishers and electric drill. But you know, it is a time-consuming job. And then that was the whole point of what I was trying to do, was to find something that I could clean up the ZX6R system, because it's really not black, but it's all brown, like it's got mud on it type of thing. And I really don't want to take the system off, because it's a big job. I really want to try and clean it up with the pipes on the bike. So this is why I've been looking at all the different types of products that are available, you know, the pink stuff, the acid treatments, wire wheels, Scotch Brite, everything like that, trying to find something where I could do it on the bike. Because, you know, obviously ideal if you can take it, if you've got the system off the bike, but I want to ride the things, I don't want to work on the things forever. So you can see it really took off the brown tarnish, and the black tarnish, for a better word, that's all I can think of, just call it black tarnish. They're really sort of layered on. It takes a lot of scrubbing with a Scotch Brite, and if it gets any worse than that, that's when I sort of step it up to the rotary Scotch Brite wheel to get into these bits here, to get this black out of it, and then you can just polish it up by hand, because you know the power tools, when you get to this level, you really need to see, you can hear how rough it is. You really need a power tool, I think. Because this is my weekly vlog, we can talk about exhaust pipes for hours type of thing. It's a big job. But a friend of mine in the comments from a previous video told me to have a closer look at the chain adjustment because of the rough ride or the harsh ride of the TLR. Now here's the manual, nice slight reading, but it's actually in multiple languages. But I adjusted the chain to the specifications from the manual. Okay, and like I said before, I did 2 tank loads of fuel with the injector. That was 400 kilometres, and I still can't seem to get live with this rear suspension. So this guy commented, and I did some investigating. I got my son to sit on, so the bike's held up on the front wheel, so that the bike is basically sitting on the ground as it is, normal weight on the back wheel. I got my son to sit on the bike, and then I checked the chain adjustment, and as the swing arm comes up to more of a level position, because it's steeply angled on this one, the chain gets tighter. And even with the correct specification for the chain adjustment, that chain was still getting on the tight side. It wasn't bored tight, but it was not far off it. So I'm going to back it off more than what the manual says in the slack, and then check it again with my son sitting on it, and see if we can get more of a reasonable amount of chain slack in the compressed position. So thank you very much for that. This TLR swing arm is a little bit tricky for sure. You know, I wouldn't dare put a small countershaft sprocket on the front, because it just seemed to hit everything around the front there. Whereas on a Hayabusa, it's very common to run 1 tooth down on the Hayabusa if you want to do some, you know, normal non-professional drag racing. The best thing to do is go 1 tooth down on the Hayabusa. Also on the GSXR 1000, 1 tooth down is the quickest way of getting, the cheapest form of getting some horsepower is go 1 tooth down on the countershaft sprocket. But on the TLR, I wouldn't dare, because of the clearance problems on the swing arm and the exhaust. You just sort of leave it alone at the front and maybe go up on the rear sprocket. But this chain adjustment, and thank you again to the guy that wrote in and said just have a closer look at it. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow for our ride on Sunday. This is the 100th video in my channel now. I had some really early ones way back, because I started in 2011, but I think it was, but I deleted those due to it being a little bit too fast. So anyway, 100 videos is today's video. Thanks guys. See you on the next one. Kevin's my name, KJ's Moto, and we'll see you in the next one.